That repetition is great.
Don't be shy. You guys jump in. Same deal. It's the same deal as you do the same thing for Doug that you would for Max.
Learning as in what we learned, or like personal lessons as in repetition. Like what we learned was nested arrays and how to pull data.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Personal
And how did
lessons
that-
was to review and not get frustrated. And as Brian said, don't follow Max, just go back to him later because he's fast.
No, so let me rephrase. I was saying that, and again, this is my suggestion. It might work different for you. I find that if you're not keeping up with the understanding of what Max is doing, I would suggest not trying to type up along with him and just listen to him like saying the concepts, right? Because that's the most important thing. Because it's recorded, you can go back and practice the typing and stuff yourself. It is important to get the typing, but the concept is more important. And Max, as he's going, it's really fast typing, but he's saying everything that you need to hear, you know? So I imagine that a lot of people like myself are trying to type to keep up with him because it feels like the right thing to do. You should be typing and learning, but sometimes that's hard to do at the same time. I'm gonna be honest. So like, sometimes I'll just literally just watch the live share and listen to what he's saying and just try to watch how he's typing. And again, you can go back later and try to type it. You know? But that's just my suggestion. I'm not saying that could work for everybody, but.
Right. And here's what I'm going to say. This is what I told Jennifer. Keeping up with Max can be tough. I mean, he whips through some stuff sometimes. So if he's sharing a live stream, you can copy and paste his code if you want to like throw some notes in that pasted code or steps or whatever. Then my suggestion is later that night or the next day, go back and watch the video, stop and start it so that you can code it out and make sure that you're understanding the concept. So now you're getting the concepts twice, right? You're getting it that night in class, listening to Max. But then when you go back and watch the video, you're not only are you getting them out again, but then you're typing them out yourself. So if he's whipping through stuff and you can't keep up with that, because I felt the same way, and I know there's others that have, that's like one of the best ways to do it is to, try and take notes if you can of what he's saying to understand the concepts. That's the most important thing. And then the next day, code it out yourself.
Yeah, and I just want to add, I also do, like you said, I copy and paste, but I just didn't want to suggest that if it's like a bad habit or something. But yeah, if he's going too fast, I just copy and paste it and worry about like understanding it in that moment, and then I go over the code.
Especially with those lengthy explanations, I've noticed that like copy and pasting, like I do it section by section. If there's something that I can code along with it, like learn your terms and stuff like that as you're coding along. But when he goes through those super quick explanations, copy a whole section, throw it in there. And if there's truly nothing that you need to look at right then and there, and he's just going over the explanation, go along with him. And then like Karen said, just head right back later on. It takes like 5 minutes just to brush up.
Right. Copy, paste, maybe add some little comments. And then you can always ask him to explain what that code did later, like he does anyways. That part.
Absolutely. Ask questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the biggest thing. Do not turn in any copy pasted code for homework. He knows when you do it, he will call you out on it for sure. You need to practice anyway of coding it out, of learning it. It's how you help. It helps. That's the one way of helping you to learn your syntax and getting used to doing all of those things.
A little suggestion too is if you are having problems with understanding the concepts, just have the page up, but instead take notes. Number 1 step and put the explanation. Number 2 step and put the explanation. Number 3 step, and then go back to the code and paste the code where it goes. Paste the code where you put the number 1 comment. Paste the other code where you put the second comment. That way you're keeping up with what he's explaining and you have it written down, and then you're matching the code to the comment that you've written out.
For sure. So many ways to go about learning this stuff. So you just gotta pick what's best for you.
Absolutely. There's all sorts of different learning styles. For me, it was a combination of kind of what everyone's mentioned, but whether it was copied and pasted and then commented out later, or I followed along and wrote the code, for me, the big thing was having that code, having those lessons to go back and refer to. Because then when I'm trying to do something later on, I'm thinking, oh, we did something like that back in the weather app. Let me go look at the code in the weather app, see how we did it there. And then it all serves as refresher and documentation. Because when you have working code, that's a great thing to refer to. So that always helped me. Just get those lessons and keep them in your classwork files, use them as reference.
And Doug's right. Sometimes you'll code something in one app and then realize as you're in a completely different project and be like, wait a minute, I remember we did this. You'll go back and be like, oh, it's right here. So the only thing you might have to do is like change your variables and your values because you've already written the code.
And that's key. What Karen's saying, you change your variables and your values. You have to understand the code to be able to reuse it in a different way. But it all helps reinforce it. So all that said, I was going to jump in just with some DOM stuff, kind of lightweight JavaScript and the page. And I figured afterwards, if people have questions about like what you were doing with the arrays, I can try to field questions for anyone who wants to stick around for that.
Yep, we can work on all of that stuff that Doug just mentioned. We can, if you have free code camp questions, we can work on that. Or if you have questions about your capstone, right? Like if you're stuck somewhere or you want to do something or you just want to check on something, we can do that as well.
All right, 5:45. So let's jump in. I'm gonna do it here. You can follow along at home. Let me set up my screen. All right, how is this size-wise? I'm on your screens.
It's
Good.
taking up about half the screen. The frontmost window is taking up about half the screen. So I mean, it looks good.
I just meant resolution-wise. Like, can you read?
Oh yeah,
It's
I'm
readable.
fine. That looks good to
Oh,
me.
okay. All right, so I'm just gonna dive in.
I just want to say one quick thing. If you are having trouble seeing that, remember if you go up to your view options, you can exit full screen. That may help you and you can adjust it that way as well on your end.
Yeah, especially as I get into the code, if you're having any issues with the type size, let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna go into Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna just make a new window. There's 100 ways to do this, but this is a nice, easy way. And from that window, I'm just gonna hit open, go into projects, gonna make a new folder. Oh, actually, so I don't have the same week and day structure as you guys have, but if you go into, what are we in here, week 8? So if you go week 8, day 4, make a new folder there, and I'm just going to call it DOM fun. Hopefully it will be fun. So a new folder. In that folder, we're going to start out with an HTML page, index.html. I like to do the autocomplete. And then we're going to add a JavaScript page, script.js. We're going to have some CSS in there. So style.css. And then in the index, just so we know we're here. Say hello world. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go live with it. And the HTML is showing up. Good. In the style, I'm going to add a style in there. Like style RH3. Color red. Save it. It's not turning red. Why is that?
No style link.
That link,
That's right. You got to add the link. And all right, our CSS is working in the JavaScript. Throw in a console log, save it. Got to add our JavaScript. And you can add that either in the head or in the body. I'm going to add it in the head. Source equals script.js. And in your script tag, if you add the word defer, I don't know if you guys did this, it will wait until the page is loaded before it runs the script. So it's nice if you're using a script that you want to manipulate the page elements with, if you throw in a defer, it'll wait until the page is loaded before running the script. So let's see if that script is running. You guys have been using the, what do you call these tools?
dev tools.
Dev tools.
Yes, the dev tools. So apparently you have.
Mhm.
Okay, good. So I'm opening my dev tools, going into the console. Hello world is showing up. So everything looks good. So let's make a div.
Can you show, I'm sorry, can you show
Yeah.
us where you have in your script, a script.js?
Yes. I just have console log hello world. So that's just telling the console to log the text hello world. Good.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions before we move on?
Could you please remind me about the shortcut?
Can you create a live share?
You know, that's a very good question. I've always been on the receiving end of the live share. Karen, do you know any,
I do.
should I be able to do this? Just, do I need to have a
So-
special account or anything?
No, you don't.
I don't think so. You just have to you just have to share one, and you can you can also do it as like a read only, so they can't touch your code.
Okay.
And that's how I would do it. You might have to sign into your GitHub account.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, so far as your question goes, it is exclamation point tab is your shortcut for all of your HTML.
All right, I'm gonna seem to be going in circles here. Allow extension to open this URL. Okay. So sharing and make read only. And then I should have a code, right, to join with?
Yeah, it should give you something for you to like share that you can put in the live stream.
Should be a
may
link.
have already copied. It may have auto copied to your notepad. So whatever you go to
Oh.
paste may be already loaded.
All right, let me just see if we came out here.
You could
Oh,
share
yeah.
that on Slack on the,
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, I'll put it in the chat and I'll put it in the live stream. All right. You know, I'm gonna put it in the live stream. I'm not seeing chat because I'm sharing my screen.
Once you put it in Slack, I'll move it into the chat.
Okay. Thank you. All right, this should get you there. Are we good? Are people able to
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
on,
able to
I'm sure.
get to it?
You should see, like, it'll tell you when they join on the bottom, I think.
All right, are we good? Ready to move on? And everyone's got the boilerplate in here. As Karen said, it's exclamation point tab will auto complete your HTML starting code. Okay, so let's make an element and target that element with a button. So let's just start. I'm going to make a div. I'm going to give it up.
Hit accept to let them in. I don't know why they
Oh.
all have to,
Oh, always accept anonymous. How's that sound?
yeah, that's good.
So I'm going to div, let's call it target div. And I'll just put some text in there. This is target div. Okay, and so we've got an ID for our target div, which
I'm sorry.
means,
Doug, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Your text is really small and it's for some reason I can't join your.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not letting me join yet either.
Yeah, just gives me an invalid URL.
oh, really?
For what
First
it's
of all-
worth, I was able to join with the link that was shared in the chat in Zoom.
I was
Yeah,
able-
I used that too, but it didn't work.
Brian, did you just click on it and then join a collaborative session?
I copied
No,
and
I
pasted.
copied and pasted it like we normally do.
Huh, yeah. It
Me
didn't like,
too.
How many people are in? Just a few of you. Oh, here's another one. Jordan wants to get in. So I guess I tried to do it. I tried to set it to let everyone in, but apparently I got to let you in one by one. Here we go. So if you weren't able to get in before, try again.
I'm in right now.
Anyone trying to get in who's not able to?
I'm working on getting in right now.
Jennifer should be in now. Oh, and how's the size of this text? Is it any better? Any more? Is it still hard to read for anyone?
Yeah, would you mind just making that the full screen? Yeah, that's better.
Zona, you still can't get on to the live share?
No, I can. I can only see style.css as the first page. I can't see the other scripts.
You could actually just click on the other things and you could actually move from screen to screen if you want to see what's in them.
No,
You can literally treat it like your VS Code. You just can't type in it. So you're saying in VS Code you can only see, in his live share you can only see style.css is what you're saying?
yeah, that's it. That's the only tab.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
can't.
can
see
click on those tabs and stuff and move them around the same way your VS Code works. So do
No,
you
I-
see index
Right.
script JS and style.cs on the side?
No, there's nothing.
Oh,
Is
Huh.
your sidebar open where it shows the folder and the files?
When he
Before
clicks on
VS
a
Code?
different one, then they appear. Like he just opened another one and now they're both simultaneously side by side.
No. Can I share my screen so you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is what I see. This is it. That's all I see. There's no other tabs and it's all participants.
If you click the two notes up at the top of that left-hand column,
Looks like the,
no, all the way to the left,
underneath the red dot.
right there. Yep. Clone repository. Clone from GitHub. Actually, no, I wouldn't say to do that because his repository right now is going to be.
No.
Yeah, we shouldn't. It
You
shouldn't
need-
have to do all that. Just
No.
like Exona, just try like closing that window. Start over the process. All right, close that. Now go back into VS Code.
Hold on.
Or yeah, you're right. Open your folder from day 4. Or no, honestly, this is a live. Okay, just okay. Go to join now. Where's that link?
Okay.
Make sure. Yeah, okay. Is that the link from this chat?
Yeah, that's the link that I have from the chat. Hold on.
Yeah, I would double check.
I am. But I can't find I can't find the chat.
Yeah, I'm not getting.
It's in the
a
Zoom
request
chat
either.
too. It's in the Zoom chat too. If you want to look there, somebody posted it there.
Jeez.
The last 4 letters are A to EF. If you have those
Yeah,
last.
I just posted it in the Zoom chat again.
Oh, this is promising.
Yep, now it's better. I don't know
Oh,
why I was doing that, but now it's better. Thank you.
anyone else having trouble seeing all 3 scripts?
I am, but I'm about to do the same process right now.
Okay, great.
Gotcha, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
All right, I will keep an eye out for requests to join. So we made a div. I gave it the ID target div, which will let us target it with CSS. So for an ID, remember, use the £sign. And we give it a style rule.
Share your
Let's,
screen, Doug, otherwise they have no idea what you're doing.
oh, thank you. Okay, so here I created a div element. I gave it an ID of target div, which we can see it up here. And then in style, I'm using that ID to apply some styles to target div. For instance, let's just give it a border of 2 pixels, solid red. And that is not working because,
Target spelling was, yeah.
yep, thank you. There we are. Okay, so we've got a div. We can make it nicer. But first, let's just make a button that can target that div. So I'm going to start in JavaScript. I'm going to get rid of hello world. And I'm going to make a new variable. I'm going to make it a const because it's not going to change. I'm going to call it, let's call it shadow button. I'm going to use it to create a shadow. And I want to set it equal to a button that is going to be in the HTML. So have you guys used get element by ID yet?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that button will be called and then I'm going to log out shadow button. We get null because there is no shadow button. So we need to create a button with an ID. A shadow button. Let's say make shadow. Okay, now we've got a button that says make shadow, and that console log of shadow button is now finding the shadow button because it exists. Okay, and we click the shadow button, and what happens? Nothing. So in our script, we got to tell shadow button to do something. Have you guys used events yet? Add event listener? Okay, good. So shadow button, add event listener. And the two parts of the event listener are, one is the event, and the other is what's going to happen when that event fires. And that is a function. The parameter for the function is the event itself, which you don't have to call it event. You can call it anything you want. You can call it my event. Whatever that name is, you can reference it inside the function. So if I say, let's have our event listener just log. Console log my event dot, oh, I'm putting it in quotes. My event dot target. So what should we get in the console when we click on that button? We get the event target, which is the button itself, console logged out to the console. Any questions yet? All right, let's forge ahead. So now let's have that button actually do something. We're going to want it to add a shadow to this target div. So let's get back to our styles for a second. A couple of things I want to do. Let's give the target div some padding. And let's set a width and a height. 200 pixels by 200 pixels. Okay, so now then I want to give it a shadow. So I'm going to create a class using the dot, just called shadow. And do you guys know the box shadow property?
Mm-hmm. Later
Okay,
on.
so I'm going to give it an X offset of 1 rem, Y offset of 1 rem, about a fade of 1 rem, and a color of black that is 50% opaque. Okay, and nothing happens because we defined the class, but we've not applied it yet. So if on our target div, we add a class, and that class was named shadow, now we got a shadow on our div. I don't know about you, I'm very excited by that. But clicking our button doesn't do anything. So what we want to do is have the button turn this shadow on. We don't want it to already be there. So I'm just going to I'll leave the class attribute, but I'm just going to make it blank. So there is no class. So what we want to do is add to our shadow button. When you click on it, we want to add that class to the div. Have you guys encountered the class list property for elements? So, well, first, let me just set up our target div in the JavaScript. I'm going to make a variable called target div, going to set it equal to get element by ID, target div. And now I'm going to, just to make sure that we are in fact targeting that. When we click our shadow button, it's going to set the variable target div equal to the document element with the ID of target div, and then it's going to console log out that element. So when we click on shadow, it is telling us, let me delete this. I had accidentally pasted that earlier. So when we click on shadow, it's console logging out the target div element. So we know we're targeting it successfully. Now we just want to add a shadow to it. So target div class list. So class list is, as you might imagine, a list of all the classes applied to that element. With the class list, you can add to it. So now when we're listening for a click event on shadow button, when we click it, it's going to define target div as the element with the ID target div, and then it's going to tell target div's class list to add the class shadow. There we go. Now, if we look at in our dev tools, if we look at target div, you can see that it has a class shadow, which is not there in the, we didn't put that, the class list is empty when we define it. All right, any questions about this so far? All straightforward? All right, let's have the button. Does everybody have it working on your files at home?
Well, no, I haven't really done a lot of it, but I'm just trying to find where you wrote this is the target. Oh, there it is. I just found it in your index. Okay, never mind.
So what's supposed to happen is when you click the make shadow, it makes a shadow, and then if you don't have it clicked, then it doesn't have a shadow.
Right, that's all it does so far.
Hmm.
Can
So I'm next.
sorry,
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Can you go back to your console on right down here? What it was, okay, because I'm getting an uncaught syntax error. Missing an argument.
You want to share it? Share your screen?
Is it supposed to be an extra one right here?
Nope, that's. Why is it showing that underline? Let's see. At event listener, click my event. Oh, you need, so the opening parenthesis on line 3, you need a closing parenthesis on line 6.
Okay, so just move this.
It'll be, no, on the outside of the curly brace.
On the outside, okay.
Yeah.
and then like that?
Yep. Yep, exactly.
Okay, let's,
Because
Nope.
add event listener is the function, and the parameters to it are click, and then the function itself, which is my event, arrow, curly brace, and then lines 4 and 5, and then the closing curly brace. So, and then you close the parenthesis, which is part of add event listener.
so it says, can I read properties of no, reading add event listeners? This is what it says. I'm just gonna pull it over.
Sure. So I'm going to move this over to my other screen so I can see a little bigger. Okay, so go back to your code. It's not recognizing what you're trying to add. So shadow button equals document get element by ID shadow button. That all looks good. If you go to your index, do you have a button named shadow button?
I have
Oh.
a class.
So for the
Is it-
button, the ID for that
Mm-hmm.
is shadow. It's all under lowercase, and it's shadow hyphen button. So if you look at your,
So is it the same for, no, right? That has nothing to do with that. Okay.
it's so in this, if you go to your script JS, so
Oh,
shadow,
up top here.
yes. So
Okay,
on the
gotcha.
left, the JavaScript variable name is shadow button with camel case, lowercase, and then uppercase button.
Mhm.
And we're setting into that document get element by ID, and the ID of the document element is
Mhm.
shadow dash button.
Okay. So that was the issue at hand. Okay, yep.
Yep,
It
yep.
is resolved now. Thank you.
Great. Anyone else having any errors or issues? All right, I'm going to move ahead and let's do a button to turn off the shadow. So I'm just going to call it very creatively shadow off button. I have to declare it. And so again, I'm going to do it, get element by ID. Shadow off. And if we console log, shadow off button, what are we going to get?
Nothing.
Nothing, right? We get null because there is no shadow. There is no element name with an ID of shadow
Yeah.
off. So going into our index, I'm going to copy paste. I'm going to change this name to shadow off, change its ID, and I'm going to call it, put the text in it, hide shadow. So now we got a second button, which clicking that does nothing. So we need to, what do we need to do to our shadow off button?
Make an event.
Yes. Thank you, Artrell. Exactly. We got to make an event, shadow off button, add event listener. And again, we're going to use the click event. And then we're going to define a function. So there's the one parameter, and then the second parameter, and the closing parenthesis. So in the function, it's always going to put, it's going to return event to that function. And then in our function, if we say, let's again, console log, event target. So an unexpected token on line 11 console.
I think it's missing the greater of the,
You're missing the other part of your arrow on line 10.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So now clicking hide shadow, console logs out the target of the event that we attached to the shadow off button. And the target of that event is the shadow off button itself, which is the HTML element button with the ID shadow off. All right, so we want that button to turn the shadow off. Any guesses how we do that?
We have to do another event listener.
Well, so we've already got the event listener right here.
Oh, so we don't need another one for turning it on.
Is there like a function that instead of adding a class to a list will remove a class from a list?
You got it, exactly. So we're going to end up with, so first we got to define target div. Or let me do it this way, just so you can see what happens. So if we tell target div class list to remove the class shadow, as Brian very accurately guessed, that should then remove that class from the target div element. So let's first add it, and then we go hide shadow, and we get an error. It doesn't know what target div is. Why doesn't it know what target div is? We define target div up here.
That target div is local to that event listener.
Exactly, exactly. So inside of this block, between here and here, target div exists. Outside of that, no one knows what target div is. So we can do one of two things. Define target div in this block.
Wouldn't that be confusing though?
So yes, it could be. It's like, oh, well, we're defining it twice, but because we have two different local scopes. And that, so make shadow creates it, and hide shadow is finding target div, and it's removing shadow from the class list of target div. But what might be a better way to refactor this code, knowing what we know about scope?
doing a root definition.
Exactly. If instead of defining target div inside of each of these scopes, if we define it out here, anything inside of this larger scope knows what target div is. So now both of these automatically know what target div is. Prove me right. Yep, make shadow, hide shadow. And it's cleaner code. So now each of these are shorter. And for also just for cleanliness, I like to have all of my declarations up here and then my event listeners down here. Right, so how's everyone doing with their following along at this point? Are your buttons hiding and showing and hiding a shadow?
Let's see. No.
No. Is it showing the shadow?
Yes, the shadow's there. It's not removing the shadow though.
Okay. Can I take a look at your code?
Sure. I'm the center of, look at my code today.
It's good. It's, you know, seeing it again and again is good repetition.
I think I'm missing shadow off. Yeah,
So right. You have to define shadow off button. Oh, no, you've got it. You've got it on line 9.
okay.
Um,
Do I just remove it then?
no, keep that there. Keep that there. Get rid of your second target div, the one you just started. So when you run it, what is the, save the script? And what happens when you try and run it? Shadow off button is not defined. Okay, let's see your script again. Shadow off button. And do you have a button with an ID of shadow off in your HTML?
The shadow of the spelling was wrong. I think probably that could be the reason. Shadow in the 13th line.
Oh, thank you. Yep. 90% of the time, it's a typo. Good eye.
Yay.
There you go.
Thanks, July. Thanks, guys. All right, cool. We're back to business.
All right.
My turn to screen share. Not just you. Zona. All right.
Thank you for catching that. Kalai, is that your name?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
So, not sure what's going on here. I think I have everything.
So I'm not seeing any red showing up in your scripts. What happens when you try and run it? Okay. So this is not Node. This is browser.
So
In
not
order to, and if you look down at the bottom, where in the blue line at the bottom of your script, it says port 5500. So if you go into a browser window,
which I also have somewhere. Maybe. Yeah.
there you go. So
Yeah.
now what happens when you try to run that? Can you show your console? Oh, sorry, the console in the browser, which if you do Command Option C should pop it open, or inspect, there you go. And right next to elements is console. And so now if you click the button, does it tell you anything? Nothing at all. All right, let's look at your HTML where you create the button, shadow button with an ID of shadow button. And then in your script, you say shadow button equals.
I have a red.
Oh, there you go. You got 2 quotes. Typos. I'm glad you guys are catching all of these.
That was probably it.
That probably was. It's very likely.
Well, there's my shadow.
Nice. How about your hide button? Is that working?
Yay.
There you go.
The shadow.
90% of the time, typos. And you'll be beating yourself up thinking, why? What did I do wrong with my code? Why don't I understand how this works? And you've got everything perfect, and you got an extra letter or a missing quote.
Thank you.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so now what if we wanted to have one button? You know what? Let's make a third button. Let's make a button to fill in the color of the div. So what are we going to need?
Create another button.
Another button? Is that what I
Oh,
heard?
wait. Yeah. Can you repeat that?
Did I hear you say another button is what one thing we would need?
We need to create another button and then we need to target it.
Yes. So let's call this call it BG color. And then, like you said, we're going to need to target it. So let's go into our script. Create a variable called background button. Set it equal to what did I call that? BG color was the ID. So we're creating this new variable named background button. We're setting it equal to document.getElement by ID bg.color, which is this element right here. And there's the ID BG color. Artrell, you have a question?
Yeah, I had to kind of get out of VS Code and get back into it. When you get a chance, can you let me join the live share, please?
Oh, all right. Are you try joining again? I'm not seeing a prompt.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Continue. Nope, I'm getting the wrong thing. All right, hold on. I gotta go back to the live chat and get the code again. All right.
Are we gonna give that button a name?
Yes, we are. I was just looking at the same thing. So I copied and pasted the button and I changed its ID, but I did not change its name. Rather, it's inner text. So what this so now we've got a button called fill background. So it's the button is the text inside is fill background. The ID is still BG-color. So in the script, we are targeting it by get element by ID BG color. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, background. So background button. What are we going to do with this?
Add another.
Add a band listener.
We'll do it on click again. So another event, just to confuse things, there's an event called pointer down, which click happens when you click down, and when you release, that's click. Pointer down will happen on the downstroke. And it also works on mobile. So pointer down reads as a mouse click or a tap or any input device that where you select something. So now we got to give it a function. And just to make sure this is working, I'm going to console log out the event dot target. So that's saying for the event, so our event listener, here's the event that we're listening for, pointer down. And then this is the function that gets triggered when that event fires. And when we call this function, it will get the event that is happening. The add event listener passes the event to the function. And we have called that event my event, we've called it event, and now we're calling it the event. The name doesn't matter. It's always going to be the event that we're listening for.
Can you please remind me what pointer down is? Like,
so it's just an event. It's when I click down on this, it fires the event.
click down on,
The thing that is listening.
Background button.
oh,
Which is-
click on the background button.
Yeah. So
Oh.
pointer down, it's just another event, just like click.
Yeah, I just didn't know what it corresponded to, like if it was a down button or like a mouse button. But it's
Oh,
this button.
okay. Good question. Yeah, it's referring to the event on the HTML button. So it's listening for
Okay.
when that button receives a click, which could be from a mouse, it could be from a finger tap, it could be from a trackpad.
Okay.
So, but yes, the event is happening on the HTML button, not on the mouse button. And here I just change the event to click, which you can see I click down and release. When I release, it fires. You could do pointer down or mouse down. There are a lot of events. Mouse down will fire when the mouse goes down. So, but for simplicity, let's just call them all click for now. So this button is receiving a click and it's console logging out the target of the event. The event is the click, the target is the button itself. And so it's console logging out that button. All right, so now what do we want this button to do?
Change the background color. So do we, I don't know, just a weird question. Do you like connect JavaScript and CSS? Or
Yes, which is we are doing that here. They're being connected through the HTML page. So with JavaScript, we're telling the HTML element, let's use the add shadow as an example. We're taking shadow button, which is this element that we've set up here. So JavaScript is saying, hey, pay attention to the make shadow button, which I'm putting into a variable called shadow button. Then we give shadow button an event listener to click, and it fires when we click on it. And we're telling it, when I click on it, go get target div, which we defined up here, which is the document element that has an ID of target div. We're saying go to target div, go to target div's class list and add shadow. So that adds a shadow. So if we go like we did before, if we look at target div in the page content, it now has the class of shadow. So the JavaScript is connected to the HTML. The HTML now has shadow in it, which is a class in the CSS. So the JavaScript, so the CSS is applied to the HTML page. The JavaScript is applied to the HTML page. So we're not connecting to the CSS script from the JavaScript. We're connecting to the HTML page, and we're connecting to the HTML page from the style.css as well. So that's a long way of saying, yes, the JavaScript and the CSS are connected, but really they're both connected to the HTML. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Long way of saying yes, they're connected. Okay, so back to our fill background button. We want to fill the background of the target div. So can I just, inside of this script, refer to target div? Does the scope of this function right here know what target div is?
I thought it was I thought target div was already, I don't know, defined, like it has a const, doesn't it?
Yes.
Pretty constant.
And because we defined it at the root level, any scope inside of the root level will know what target div is. Because we could, if we wanted to, just to make things more confusing, we could make a new variable called the target div and set it equal to get element by ID, target div. So now we're saying we have a new variable called the target div.
But since we didn't make a constant for that, it won't work. Is that what you're saying?
So no, so it will work because we are defining a variable right here and we're setting it equal to get element by ID target div. So let's just say the target div dot, or let's just console log the target div. So now when we click on the background button, it's going to run this script, which is going to define the variable the target div as equal to the document element with an ID of target div, which is this guy up here. And then we're going to log out that element. So when we click on fill background, it logs out the target div. So this is not a great idea with the script we have already, because I think, as many of you are probably thinking, don't we already have the element with an ID of target div defined as target div? Yes, we do. So you could set multiple variables equal to that same element. I'm just showing you that inside of this scope, we're setting a new variable equal to that. And when we refer to that, it points to the same thing. But that's not the way we want to do it. We want to do it with target div, because we already have target div. It's pointing to the same thing. So let's just use that. And it's defined in the global scope. So we have access to it inside of this function's scope. So now when we click on fill background, it logs out target div. So what do we want to do with target div? So the reason I did all that was just to reinforce the idea of setting a variable equal to an HTML element with get element by ID. And this is just a variable. We can make a new one inside of this scope that targets the same thing. But we're going to use the global scoped variable target div instead because we already have it. And what do we want to do with that? This is our sorry, go ahead.
Create the fill background event.
So fill.
Yes, so we want to add the class.
Add color.
So did we define a class
We have to do that.
or a
in-
background fill?
I think we have to add that into CSS.
Yes, we do. So let's call this pink background. And so I'm defining a new style called pink background. I'm giving the background property, or to be even more specific, the background color property, a value of pink. We save that. And our target div has no classes right now. So in our JavaScript, we're going to add that class when we click the button. Okay, so we've got make a shadow, hide a shadow, fill the background. So let's stop there for a second. There are a few concepts, one of which is I just wanted to show to you guys the class list property of document elements where you can dynamically add and remove classes to change the appearance of a document element, which is kind of cool. Now we have buttons that we don't have a remove background yet. So any questions this far about targeting elements, adding event listeners, adding, removing classes? No, we're all good?
So it's customary for every add event that we put in to add a remove event, just in case we need to remove that specific target.
So it's entirely up to you. It depends what you want your program to do. Do you want buttons that just fill colors and things and that's all they do? Do you want something that turns it on and off? So really, there's not like a standard for if you have a button that adds a style, you got to have a button that removes a style. That's entirely up to you. We're just building a little application that doesn't do anything but change some styles. So if we now want to remove the pink background, what might we do?
Can we do that on our own?
I was just gonna say to you, I sent you a message in Slack.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I have a hard time juggling all the windows. I'm not that smooth with the interface yet. Yeah, no, feel free to make suggestions. I know I'm plowing ahead here.
How about we give you guys like, I don't know, 8 or 9 minutes to try it on your own? And then Doug can go over the solution. How's that sound?
I like that idea. Artrell, you have a question or are you just agreeing?
Yeah, I have a question. While the class is doing that, can you just check my stuff? Because I feel like I'm pressing buttons, but I'm not getting the results that I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
So everyone else good? You're gonna make a button that gets rid of the pink background.
So if I click on my buttons, they depress, but they're not doing anything. So I feel like I'm messing up somewhere, and I was trying to go over the code. And I don't know, like I was trying to make these quotes like a single quote, but it changes
Yep.
it back to the double.
So either will work, double or single.
Okay.
So the quickest way might be just show your dev tools. Which if you right click on the page and go to inspect on the HTML page, if you right click and there you go, inspect, and then right next to elements is console. Shadow is not defined at HTML button element.
So line
script,
9,
line
section
9.
27, I guess.
Yes.
It'll be over here somewhere.
Yes. So we are adding a class to the element. You got it. Classes are class names are strings.
All right, I'm still not getting that stuff.
Okay, you're not getting your error though.
Just my
Okay, so
monitor.
let's go back. So look at your in HTML script real quick.
Mm,
In VS Code.
oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. So the button is shadow button, make shadow, ID equals shadow button. Now look at your JavaScript. Oh, so everything seems to be working. Const shadow button equals get element by ID shadow button. That looks good. Then you say shadow button, add event listener, click my event, target div, class list, add shadow, and target div is defined on line. In VS Code.
I'm saying you were breaking up. Say that last part again.
If you look at style CSS in VS Code, so you do define shadow. X offset, yep. So interesting. So if you go back to your HTML page to the browser window, and in the bottom there, pop open the body element. The little triangle next to body. So you're right. You have elements open on the left where it says head and body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hit that triangle. And then div ID, target ID, class equals pink background shadow. So you've got the class shadow.
I wonder if it's my monitor.
What's that?
I wonder if it's my monitor. The way it looks on my monitor. Hold on, let me just move this over. I mean, you're not gonna be able to see it for a second, but let me just bring it over here and see if anything happens.
Yeah, that I wouldn't expect that would be it.
Nope, and you're right. That's not it.
So yeah, you got me stumped here so far. Let's see. So the make shadow button is adding the shadow. Refresh the page.
Okay.
I just want to get rid of the pink background. So now if you click make shadow, and now pop open the body element down below in the window. And if we look at target div, the target div ID target div class equals shadow. Click in your browser tools, click on div ID target div.
Div ID. Wait, over here to the left?
No, you were in the right place. Right below hello world.
Oh,
Down. Yep, that one right there. Click on that. And then that should show you our styles on the right. Target div. It doesn't like box shadow for some reason. I know why. If you go back to your style CSS,
okay.
RGBA, there should be no space between that and the parentheses. And you can, if you want, just, so yeah, you could delete that space. So that's saying give it a red of 0, green of 0, blue of 0 at 0.5 opacity.
All right. Yeah. Now I see the shadow.
That's what it was. It was
Shadow.
a missing space.
Okay.
All right. So now, so the next task is, does your background fill work?
It doesn't show pink, but it could just be my monitor. Let me check something.
I don't think it's the monitor.
What did I just do?
You grabbed a different tab and pulled it out.
I didn't mean to do that. So how do I? Okay. Do this. Boom.
You close
Okay.
that and then the window behind, yeah.
All right, because my computer's a little different. All right. All right, fill background. No, it's still not showing pink for some reason.
So your JavaScript, if you look at your JavaScript, your JavaScript is good. You've got shadow off button. Shadow off button is adding pink background to target div class list. And when we looked at target div in the browser, go back to the browser window again. You can see target div down below, you have it highlighted. It says class equals pink background shadow. So you can have multiple classes with a space in between, just like it's showing. So it has the class pink background, but have you defined pink dash background in your style.css?
No.
So you need to make a new class called pink background.
Okay. Mm. Pink. Mm.
So, yep, you got the style defined. That's good. Now you just need to target the background color property. So all right, give that a try.
Okay.
You see what happened?
Yes. I made the words.
Yes. Yep. The color property targets the words. You got it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so it's almost 7. How's everyone doing on the turn off background color button?
I got it.
Excellent.
No
Anyone
errors this
else?
time. No errors.
And so you're able to turn it on and turn it off?
Yes. Yep, it turns
Very
on pink
nice.
and remove background, turns off pink.
Excellent.
I'm missing something.
All right, you got a question? Go ahead, Jennifer. You want to share your screen?
I feel really puffy that I got this far. But it's something's not. mm, mm, mm. My window's not big enough to show a share screen. There we go. Okay. So I've got my boxes. Got this type error. Reading at event listener.
Yep, on javascript.js line 21.
And I can't tell why.
So okay, so on line 21, when you, if you select inside of that, yeah, you can open it like that. Just another tip, if you do Option Z, it will wrap text, and you do Option Z, it'll wrap text around and then unwrap text. So if it's going outside the window and you don't want to make your window bigger, you hit Option Z and it'll wrap the text.
That's cool. Okay.
So that's just pro tip.
Thank you. Yeah. It's like, don't know. I haven't been able to figure it out.
Okay, so line 21, it's saying background button off. So in the error you were getting, can you go back to that real quick?
Mhm.
So cannot read properties of null on line 21. So it's looking at a variable that it's expecting to have a value, but its value is null. So if you go back to the script on line 21.
Mm. Mm-mm.
No, that's right, VS, up in VS Code.
Mm.
Yep. So on line 21, you're referring to background button off and you're adding an event listener to it. Where do you define background button off? Oh, you do define it.
I didn't write off. Do I have to write off?
No. You had, sorry, undo that. You have it up above on line 4. Can you wrap your text? So get element by ID aqua background dash off. So you need to have an element in your HTML page that has an ID of aqua background dash off, spelled the same way.
So I need another ID here.
So you got shadow button, shadow off, BG color, then you've got aqua. So I think you've got fill background and aqua background. Did you want aqua background to turn it off or to fill it aqua?
I think I have that. That's wrong.
So just to turn it off, let's target that. So if you change the name of aqua background to the name sorry, not the name, the ID, if you change the ID name to the same name that you're targeting in your JavaScript, so right there, you've got all one word, aqua background off. If you look at your JavaScript, up on line 4, I know it's all scrunched together right now.
Background button off.
So
Oh, I didn't type it right. Background. I didn't do that right. Okay. I get lost when I have to go back and forth. I'm like, where is it?
Okay, so here's so that's, you're close, but you're targeting the one you want to target is you're getting the element by ID of an element that has the ID aqua background dash off.
Yeah, so I need to actually change.
So the ID of the element you want to target has to match that.
There it is.
And you lost your right triangle.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So yep, save that and go back to your browser window.
That's not good.
Oh. Try refreshing the page. Yeah.
Hmm.
So if you click on aqua background, what do you get?
Well, I can fill it. And then aqua background turns it off.
Oh, you got it. You got it working.
Sweet. God, that feels good. Wow.
Okay, so yeah, so and so naming your buttons and giving IDs and variable names, giving them names that are descriptive can help you in your code to figure out what they do when you come back to it later on.
A lot of times too, if you want to make sure that you're not missing names for like your IDs in your classes, once you create it in one spot and you need to use it in another, copy and paste. So then there's no errors of like, oh, I spelled it wrong. I missed this, I missed that. Once
Exactly.
it's in there, copy that sucker and then paste it where you need it.
Great.
Very good advice. And it cuts down on typing. All right, well, it's 7:03. Do you guys want to take a break?
Mhm.
All right, you want to take a break for 20 minutes and then meet back here to look at your off buttons?
Mhm.
All right.
Well,
Any
everybody's got everything right up to this point. What was the last thing that you were doing?
So everyone's got the off button working?
Mhm.
No, our child does not. Okay. Does anybody else need help with that?
I kind of do.
Okay, so if you guys want, when we come back, we can do that. And if anybody wants practice doing something similar to the school JS file that you did with Max, let me know.
Yeah, that array was tough. I'd like that.
Me too.
I have a file that I can share with you after we go over what Alba and our trail need. So you guys can work on that if you want.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good. We'll see everyone back here at 7:25. And I'll stick around for a little bit if anyone has any questions they want to ask over break.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
I'm gonna shoot you the code that I have for that, Doug, just so that you know, you can stick it wherever you want.
Oh, great.
I'm just gonna copy paste it and I'll shoot it to you in Slack so that you can see, but if you go into, I have like 1,000 windows open right now.
Mhm.
If you go into their day 2, I believe, no, day 3. If you go into day 3 of the outline, for this week, it's gonna be something super similar to that.
Did you share it with me in?
I'm gonna
Slack?
send it to you right now in Slack. Do you want the, well,
So
I
I
can-
see day 3, school nested data, school nested
Yes.
data, answers, questions, answers. And
Yes.
weather app code. So the,
so he did the school.js with them. What I'm gonna send you right now,
Mhm.
is actually something very similar to that. It's just a little bit different. When you see it, you'll see what I mean.
Okay,
It's pretty much the same questions that he asked them at the bottom to have them do. It's just a different, it's all nested stuff, you know, the fun stuff.
mm-hmm. I see, yep, I got the file. Is there no quick copy button in Slack?
I don't think so. You might be able to click on that block and do like just a command A. I don't know if it'll do it or not.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Okay. But if you open up the two JS files from the outline, you'll see that like the one that I just sent you is like pretty much super similar to that. And then all of the answers should be pretty much the same as what they have.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
That's all right.
Okay. So I'm looking at the one you just shared with all the cars.
Yep.
And then these 5 exercises are what they did with the school
they're-
data?
Yeah, the 5 questions at the bottom are the same, pretty much questions that he did in the schools JS file, except for the last one, because that one, I think they had to do a little math or something because it was an average. And I wasn't gonna mess with that because I didn't put anything like that in there.
Print out the your door preference. What does that mean?
There's 2-door or 4-door.
Oh, okay. So print out your preference, not
Yeah.
both options.
So print out,
One of those.
yeah, it should say, so just take out the print out your door preference with each name. I'll change it before I share it with them. Or you share it with them, doesn't matter.
Okay, and so the school nested data questions and answers. Is that something that they are going to want to go over? Is this something that, or did
They
they?
did it with Max. They already did that with Max.
Okay, and they completed it.
Yeah, they completed it. So what I did was I just created like another whole set of data for them to work on.
Oh, excellent.
To answer those, pretty much those same questions with, like, and then if they want to see how the answers are, or, we can go over the answers with them, or if they want to see how the answers are after, like if they want to work on it by themselves later, or however they want to do it, they can look at the answers for the schools.js, and they'll all pretty much be the same, except for the very last question that on mine, because there's no like math and stuff involved,
Right.
but they still have to choose.
And did they do these? Sorry, did they do this in Node or did they do this in a browser?
Nope, it was just literally open up that file. They just had that file in like VS Code, and then they just ran it node schools.js. So it gives them, because it'll just give them the console at the bottom.
Okay, okay.
So when we come back, we'll answer the two questions, the question from our trial and Alba. And then if they want to, a couple, I know there's a few of them that want to work on that. So we can just share the code into Slack, or I can share it into Slack, and they can go from there. We can either let them work on it themselves, or we can kind of work on it, walk them through it, however you want to do it.
I got mine to work.
Okay,
Oh.
our trial got his to work, so.
Excellent.
I don't know how, but I did. My aha moment, kind of, sort of.
You'll have a lot of those.
Yeah, but save that code so the next time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
I'm gonna grab a drink and I will be back in a couple minutes.
Me too. I'm going to eat something real quick and I'll be back. Hello, welcome back. So I guess for the second half, we're going to do some work with arrays and objects, which is, I guess, what you guys have been doing so far this week. Karen will probably end up taking over, just because I know she's more familiar with the ways that you've been approaching it so far, and exactly, what calls you're using to do it.
Alba, did you get your issue figured out, or do you have a question before?
My button works, it was working. I was just doubting myself, so I'm fine.
Okay. I just want to make sure. You can keep going, Doug. I don't have to take over. I just was offering up the file for them to practice with.
Okay, so you want to go over the file and walk through like one of the exercises?
Yeah. So I'm going to take the code and I'm going to share it to the live stream. So you guys have it. You can take that code. It doesn't matter where you put it. If you want to you can put it anywhere really. If you want to create another folder, practice, however you want to do it. You're just going to open up one file like you did with Max the other day. And it's just going to be vehicles.js. Like you guys did with the schools.js. Doug, did you want to put it in VS Code and share it? Share your screen?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me-
Only because I don't use VS Code, so I don't want to confuse them.
I think
Okay,
the first one needs to be changed. Is asking for the school, the other one instead of the vehicles. Says
Create,
types.
create a new file.
All the other questions have to do with the vehicles. It's just the first question where it says print out all the school types. I think that
Oh, yep.
Oh,
Change
yeah.
that to vehicle types, sorry. I'll edit the code in Slack.
and I've just put in a link for my VS Code into the Zoom chat, and I will paste it into the live stream. Right, you should now find it in both places.
If you want to share your screen, Doug, go ahead.
Yep. All right, does everyone have this file?
yes.
What are we calling it?
Vehicles.js.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have an array called vehicles. Inside that, we have objects.
Back into the live stream.
So sorry, the question was, I pasted live stream into the chat and into,
Do you have to accept us into the live stream again?
I just accepted one person. I'm not seeing any more requests.
Before we move on, are we still gonna go over the answer for the script?
Oh, would you like to go over that first?
I mean, yeah, just just for the sake of it.
All right, you want to share yours?
Oh, sure. Oh, crap. Yeah, give me a minute.
Meanwhile, who is not able to get into the live share?
I was able to get in now.
Yep, it says I've got Brandy and Diaz. And I'm only seeing two. Here we go. All right, Schneider, did you want to share your solution?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have. Oop. Give me a minute.
You've got two. There's two of you. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I had to log out the other one. Uh,
So this is for the button that undoes the fill.
yes. So my question, did I do it right?
Well, see, first of all, is it working?
Yeah, it works. I understand it.
You want to walk us through your solution?
Uh,
Why
sure.
don't you
Okay.
want to show us? Yeah, go ahead, walk us through what you did.
Okay. I mean, I didn't do anything that you didn't do. I just created the button, named it remove BG, bye color, as that'll pop up in the browser. I went back and added the event listener on click and then made the function right here. And then I remember you said something along the scopes. I don't fully understand it, but I just called the box target div class because those are defined.
Mhm.
And I add the class and then we're removing it. So I just added dot remove green background. And then I console logged everything just for me to see if it, will go through. I know
Yeah.
it's good practice, but it was just for me. So yeah, that's what I did.
Good. No, that's how to do it.
Okay.
And you define remove background color up top. Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, perfect. That's a solution. Does anyone have any questions about that, or did anyone do it a different way?
So there's nothing wrong with putting like console logs in, like Schneider did, to check your work,
Mm,
especially now, right? Like you can put in as many console logs as you want to make sure that what you're doing is working. It's when you go to send your code out, like your finished product, that's when you want to take all your console logs out.
yes, very good point. Especially if you're working with a team and you're sharing your code and they're working on something and they get all these console logs popping up that they don't know why they're there.
Question. I see you use single quotes instead of double quotes. I know it's okay to use either or, but like, do you get confused by that? Like, is there one that works better over the other, or is it just the exact same thing?
Single or double quotes.
Yeah, on your code.
Yeah, it's a matter of preference. I mean, there might be conventions that are used, if you're on a team, they might say, oh, we always do class names in single quotes and strings and double quotes, or vice versa, but really they're interchangeable. But if you
Yes.
start with a single, you got to end with a single. If you start with a double, you got to end with a double.
And there will be instances where you're trying to do something and you will need to use a single quote and a double quote in the same line.
Yes, for instance, if you're doing a string that has a quote in it.
You're talking about the like escaping literal quote stuff?
Yes, but instead of escaping it, you could just do single quotes and then double quotes inside of it, and then hello, and then that would print double quote, hello, double quote. Or if you did double quotes on the outside and single quotes on the inside, you'll get single quote, hello, single quote. And Karen, have you gone over the backtick quotes yet?
I don't think they've gotten to those yet because they haven't done anything with APIs. They have next 2 weeks with you, and then they come in to APIs after that with Ryan for 2 weeks.
Okay. So there is a third type of quotes in the future. Okay, is everyone in the share, the live share? So yeah, so we have a an array of vehicles.
Share your screen.
I'm not sharing my screen.
It's okay, Doug. We do this to Max all the time. We're like, Max, share your screen, please.
Yes, I know. I good. I'm in good company then. All right. Are you seeing the screen with the code on it?
Yeah, is there any way you can make that a little bit bigger? It might be super small on their screens.
Is that better? Bigger still? I can get.
That's probably good right there, I would think. Is that good for everybody?
Yeah. If you can make the font just a little bit bigger.
Is there a so I'm Zoom. I just keep hitting plus. Is there a preference in VS Code for font?
No, that's good. That works. I
Okay,
don't know if there is, but that works.
I'll figure it out on my own time. All right. So
There probably is, but it's probably in like the settings or something to pick a particular font or something like that, I think.
all right. Well, good. For now, this works.
I have a question though. Your live share looks like the link is the same as the last one because it told me I couldn't get into it and it had ended.
Really? Is anyone else not able to get in?
The one that is in the Zoom chat does say that the other one was working.
I just posted it again in the Zoom chat. Try that.
Okay. No. Nope. Just says that it was already, that it's no longer active. That's so weird.
Yeah.
He stopped the first one and then he's created a new one.
Yeah, like I opened a new window.
You may have to stop VS Code and open it again.
Okay.
Yeah, the link in the Zoom chat looks like the right one.
Getting there. Just. Try again.
Bobby, you have a question?
Yeah, for some reason, when I clicked the link and tried to log in, it said that it was rejected. Then I had to sign in. When I tried to go and not like just go as anonymous and then have my name, it rejected it.
Bobby, real quick, are you clicking it or are you copy and pasting it?
No, it won't let me copy and paste it out of the Zoom chat.
You gotta highlight it before you copy and paste it. Otherwise, it'll blank it out. The same thing happened to me. So try highlighting it and then try copying it.
Yeah, facts.
If you hover over the link, there's 3 little dots on the end.
Yeah.
Click those dots, it copies it for you.
Still telling me this same darn thing.
It's telling you that the share has ended?
Yeah, I just restarted. So annoying. I just restarted it.
And you're using the link from the Zoom chat?
I am.
Ends with 8786.
Yes, it does.
Brian, any ideas?
Yeah, I mean if you're for sure have the most recent link and you for sure pasted that into the join, I really can't think of anything besides I would just completely close your VS Code and open it and try again.
Jennifer's in.
I got it. It just, but it only worked not if I highlighted it and copied, but only if I did the little dot saying that Karen just told us.
Is that your screen right now?
Yeah, I'm in the proper share now.
No, I mean, are you sharing your screen right now?
Oh, no, I'm not, but I'm all set.
So that's a good tip. Like Karen said, click the 3 dots to do the copy. I guess it does a less chance of something going wrong.
Yeah, like my clipboard wouldn't clear or something. Anyway, sorry for the wait.
I'm glad you're in. All right. So everyone's in now, I believe. We've got an array of vehicles. Each vehicle's got a type property, which is a string, a models property, which is oh boy. Yep, so that's models array. In models array is a list of models objects. Each model object has a name property, a class, features, doors, which so features is another array. So we're getting deep nested arrays here. So given all of that, so yeah, so features is another nested array, and doors is another property that has an array. So the task is to print out all the vehicle types. How would we start?
Right, I was gonna say, somebody start us off.
Yeah, if we want to get to every vehicle in this list.
So if we go by what Max was teaching us yesterday, we would start by let count equal 0. And for const vehicle of vehicles, do the count ++ and console.log vehicles.type.
I'm just curious, why would we need a count?
Because you want to start at the 0 in the array. And you're trying to get every single vehicle that is within all of the information that he's giving us. So you want it to start in the beginning.
Well, I would say, and here's one way, and this could be a different way. I would think you could just loop over all the vehicles and just get the type out of it, right? Because that's for vehicle types. So I would think like a for loop for const vehicles of vehicles, like you could just console.log vehicle.type.
Absolutely, looping through them, which, and I'm sorry, A. Diaz, what's your first name?
Alba.
Alba. It sounded like Alba was sort of getting at that with the let equals and then increasing the count. But yeah, the technique is looping through each of the vehicles to print
Like,
out.
I'm just more so saying like the count isn't necessary for the loop to know like when to end, because it's just going over all the vehicles. So I get what Alba was saying, but like I just iterator isn't really necessary in this case. I don't see it, but I could be wrong.
True. So there's the for let count equals 0, count is less than the length, count ++. What's the other kind of loops that you learned? What kind of loop would you use, Brian?
So I would use a for of in this case. But if you were asking like what loops in general, I wasn't sure what you were asking. But yeah, in this case, I would use a for of.
Yep. Yeah, I was just looking for another loop. So the for of, who remembers the format for that? The syntax.
Const vehicle of vehicles. which is what I did, except I put the count in the beginning.
All right, so for const vehicle of vehicles, we want to print out all the vehicle types. So what would we put inside the loop?
It would,
Console.log, the vehicle.type. Since it's accessing every vehicle's type when it loops through.
Exactly. So here's the first vehicle. Okay, this object is the first vehicle, and it has a property called type. So we're going to go through each of the vehicles, print out the type. We got Ford, Chevrolet, and Toyota. All right, that works. Any questions about the for loop?
Yeah, could you explain the of part, like vehicles of vehicles?
So the way a for of loop works is the of says of what array. So we're saying find a variable of the array vehicles. So define a variable called vehicle of vehicles. So now it's going to loop through every item in the array. And that item is going to be referenceable by the variable vehicle. So you're saying, so it's basically, it's like saying const item of array.
Thank you, thank you.
It would be really helpful for me if you would review that process one more time.
Okay, so we've got up here on our old vehicles, and we want to loop.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think my connection's not so great because you keep sounding like a robot.
Oh, is that happening with anyone else?
Little bit.
Even
Little
for me
bit.
too. Yeah.
All right, if
Yeah,
it
pretty unstable,
continues, if it's a real problem, maybe Karen could take over. Is it glitching out to the point where it's?
I don't
Hard to
find it
follow.
unlistenable. I think becomes an issue when like two people are talking at the same time. Otherwise, it seems pretty like intermittent. It's not enough to affect the learning in my case.
Okay, I couldn't understand. But let's try again.
All right, well, let me know, Jennifer, if it continues, and I'm happy to pass off to, maybe Karen has a better connection than me. But to review it, so we have an array called vehicles. We want to loop through it. So we're using a for of loop. The way for of works is we're saying of this array, so of vehicles, give me each item, and let's call that item vehicle. So this is just like saying const item of array. And so then inside the loop, we can refer to vehicle, and that is the item of the current iteration, current loop. So for const vehicle of vehicles is saying go through the array vehicles, give me each item, and let me reference it with the name vehicle. Does that help?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to take notes for my comment.
Type is the vehicles, and that's why it console logged Ford, Chevy, and Toyota.
So type is a property of vehicle. Vehicle is an item in vehicles. So I know I'm scrolling up and down a lot here, but so vehicles is our array, and the object in that array is an item of the array. And so when we say vehicle of vehicles, we're saying go get each item in the array. So the first time through, vehicle will be the first item in the array, which is going down further, but the type property of this object is Ford. So it's that object dot Ford. Vehicle is our reference to that object. So we're saying, basically we're saying item dot property, vehicle dot type. So type is a property of that object. Does that clarify what type is referring to?
Ooh, yes, I just want to get that real quick. So vehicle is the vehicle in the object vehicles.
Yeah,
One.
vehicle is an object in the list vehicles, in the array vehicles. And that object has a property called type. So if we scroll up, so here's a comma and the next object in the list, or I guess the last object in the list, it also has a type property, which is Toyota. And this one has a type property, Chevrolet. So I think we got three objects in the array, each one representing a vehicle.
Mhm.
And each of those objects has a bunch of different properties. So we're just saying, go through each of those objects in the array and just tell me the type property of each of those objects. And so it's giving us Ford, Chevrolet, Toyota.
I get that now. I think just when you said that the type is a property of vehicles, I was like, oh. It's a subcategory.
Yes, yeah. It's like a variable that's attached to the object is a way to think of it.
That works.
But you definitely want to think of it as a property, because like property is a term that it's referenced as like all throughout JavaScript.
Yeah, objects have properties.
Because it was, how come I can't? Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, sometimes I have a hard time with the, oh, did I try this on?
Yeah, it's on.
Did you have a question?
I had ordered some more stuff too. They gave us like a $1,500 stipend. I was like, what?
Aaron, you're on. You're yeah.
So with object properties, I'm sure you've gone over the terms key object pairs. So each property has a key, which in this case is type, and a value, which is Ford. So key value pairs. This property has a key of models and a value of this array. So the value could be a string, the value could be an array, the value could be another object. It could be a number. So we're saying get the item vehicle, and then from vehicle, get the key type, the property, sorry, I should say, get the property that has the key of type. The key is the name. All right, any questions on the first exercise? All right, let's jump over to the second one. Print out all the models in Chevrolet. Anyone have an idea how we would start that?
Console.log vehicles array one dot type.
Say that again.
Console.log out vehicles in array one dot class.
Vehicles in array 1. So
So
Is an
after
array.
models, there's another array, yep. And then dot class.
I have to go back and read the question. Print out all the models in Chevrolet.
Yeah, so I mean, I personally, I started it like kind of similar to the first one. Like I started by trying to access all the vehicles. So I did a for of loop.
Mhm.
Although when you were mentioning array 1, like where is array 1? Like,
You see, we have the first array with the yellow bracket, and then there's the second array in the models of the second.
yeah,
bracket. And then
right.
once the class, or I'm assuming sedan or I mean, focus or whatever. So you would do the dot of that, whatever he wants. So if he wants the name, dot name, or dot class, if he wants the class, or so on and so forth.
We want the models
So the model,
in Chevrolet. So this
yeah,
this is.
so that's the model. That's,
Let me see if
Right.
I can find the Chevrolet. Here we are.
so the models is an array itself.
She's right. It should say type. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
so
print out all of the types in Chevrolet.
off Chevrolet, like
Ah.
relay, sedan, whatever.
But I mean, Chevrolet does have models. You know what I mean? So like technically that I got it to work. Like yeah.
So how did you target Chevrolet to begin with?
Okay. So here's what I did. Give me one second, I gotta uncomment it. All right, so I started out with a for loop like we did in the first one. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, yeah. I started out with a for like we did in the
Yes.
first one. So for const vehicle of vehicles. All right. So that gives us access to all the vehicles. It's going to loop through all of them. I made an if statement. I said if vehicle.type is equal to Chevrolet, then I did another for loop for a model of vehicle.models, console.log the model. So does that make sense?
Const vehicle of models.
Okay,
Model
so
of
start
model.
to start from the beginning, right? I did a for loop for const vehicle of vehicles, right? To loop over all the vehicles like we did in the first problem. All right, as we're looping, so inside the for of, I made an if statement to check what the vehicle type is. Since we're looking for Chevrolets or model,
Right. So if vehicle type equals Chevrolet.
right. So if that equals Chevrolet, then inside that if loop, I made another for of. So do you follow? This
Yes.
one I did for model of vehicle.models.
Are we in question 2 or question 3?
Question 2. And I think it is, yeah, models. Because Chevrolet is the type.
Yeah. So Chevy's a type. Once you have the type of Chevrolet, you now have access to all the models of Chevrolet. And then I made a for loop of model of vehicle.models, you know, and I console.log the model.
So inside this loop.
I can't see your screen. I would like to see what you're typing,
Oh.
but I just see Karen on the screen. On the Zoom screen, not on live share. Zoom, I don't see your screen. I don't know why.
Huh, is anyone seeing my screen?
I'm seeing your screen.
Okay, maybe
That's
it's
weird.
behind a window or something.
Maybe if you go to Karen's page, unpin her picture.
I don't know. It just popped up. I don't know. happened like a few minutes ago. But anyways, okay, I'll look on the, okay, I'm looking on the live share now. Okay, so const vehicle of vehicles. If vehicle that type equals Chevrolet, all right, for const model of vehicle dot models, console dot log. You don't even have to put, I would just put console dot log model. I mean, if you want to put it like, you know, to make the syntax like look pretty, I just literally just put model in there, yeah. So
Right,
see if
yep,
that works.
yep,
That
yep.
should just console log the model.
So this should give us every Chevrolet model.
No, that's not what I did. Let me see. Give me 1 second.
Oh, so do we want just the name of each model?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So it's console.log models.name.
Yeah, that should do it.
That's, right.
Not right. Oh, this is doing,
Yeah, but I mean, it said print out all the models,
oh,
right?
you know what? I
Like,
still got this
for
one
Chevrolet.
running.
It's, yeah, it's
Okay.
doing all of your, it's just doing all your console logs, one right after the
Yeah.
other. So
Yeah.
what he did was right.
Yep.
Yeah,
there
the
you go.
model, it's listing the model. Now, if you want, you know, something within the model, then you can access it even further. But that was just as far as I took it. I just wanted console log the models.
Yeah, that works. That works. Did anyone have a different solution? So this works. So what Brian did, he said for const vehicle of vehicles, just like we did above. So go through each item in the array vehicles, and for each item, if that item's type property is equal to the string Chevrolet, then for each item of the array of this array, which is vehicle dot models, call the item model, and then log out model dot name, log out the name property of that model. Any questions on that solution? So I'm just scrolling up. I want to see if there's a way that we could directly target Chevrolet without the loop.
Mhm.
So shouldn't it be, so for, I put for const models of vehicles 1 dot type. And then put console log models dot name.
Oh, I see. So you went right to a vehicle one. So you said, or const,
Models
say
of
const-
vehicle,
of vehicle.
vehicles 1. Is it vehicle 1? I think it's vehicle 1.
No, I think you're right. Vehicles one. The first, so you went straight for. the-
Well, wait, you have to put dot type at the end of the closing bracket 1. So like right there. Yeah.
So is this what you had?
So const models of vehicle. Hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta make sure that I have it. No, yes. Types. Type. Sorry, give me, yep. So no, it's type. So
Type.
Well,
that,
because Chevrolet is the
so
it's
this
the
section right
second
here.
object in the array, so it's at the one index, right? So
Right,
you're
so it's
accessing
saying-
it directly.
Go to Chevrolet, get the models property of Chevrolet.
And then it's types.
Types.
Yep. Oh, a type. TYPE. I mean, it worked earlier. I don't know what, did I do it wrong?
So let me just, sorry.
It sounds like, if I've had to guess, it sounds like, Exona, what you were doing is like, since you could see the array, like you knew exactly where Chevrolet was in the array, right? So
Yeah,
you
so
just
it's
access
vehicle
that
one.
directly, right? Though my only thing
Right.
is and you know, the teachers might correct me if I'm wrong on this. In most of these cases, like that array will be in a computer on a server. So like you won't know exactly where that object is on the server. So that's why you would want to loop over it to look for that model specifically. You know what I mean?
Right, if you, yeah,
Right.
if you can't see the array, if you don't have direct access to it, then Brian, you're
Yeah,
absolutely
right.
right, you would have to go find Chevrolet. But,
Right.
but what Alba did works because you, in this one case, you can see the array. So if you know which item it is, you can say, okay, go get item 1 of the vehicles array,
Okay,
get the models property of that,
okay,
which is an array itself. So you're saying get the item of the array models that is the property of the first vehicle in
Mhm.
the first item in vehicles, or I'm sorry,
Mhm.
it's actually the second item. It's at index 1. So it's
Mhm.
the second item because we start with 0. So you're saying go to the vehicles array, get the second item, get the models array of that. For each item in that array, log out the name property.
right.
So it's,
I mean,
so,
probably not gonna work because it's not working for me, but.
no, it works. I ran it down here. This is it.
Okay,
And so, yeah, so what this piece right here is doing. What this piece is doing is just standing in for this. Rather than looping through and hunting for the vehicle with the name Chevrolet, it just says, oh, I know Chevrolet is at index 1 of vehicles. Just go right there and get
Right.
dot models, which is just what we did here. Get vehicle dot models.
Yeah, both of those answers are correct. And
Yeah.
that, because what Brian said is right. Like, if you don't know where Chevrolet is in the array, how he did it works. But there will be cases where you'll have the data in front of you. Like you'll see that when you are working with Ryan in a couple of weeks and you start using APIs, you'll have the data in front of you. So that's why what you did works also.
okay,
Yep, they are both valid solutions.
So it's just a matter of knowing which one to use, depending on what data you have in front of you. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you might just know, hey, there's an array called vehicles, and we know it has some properties, but we don't know what the values in any of those properties are. So in that case, you would say, okay, well, go to vehicles, loop through it, and get me the type property, check and see if it matches the type we're looking, the property the value that we're looking for type, which is Chevrolet. And if it is, grab that model, grab the models array of that vehicle and loop over it, listing out each model. So yeah, so if you can't see the array, over them for to then go over its list of models is a great solution. If you can see your data, you could say, you know what, just go get me looking for, get its models array, go through each of those models and print out the name.
Okay.
Both good solutions for this problem. Any further questions before we move on to the third one? So print out all the class names along with the type of model. I got to look at this to see what that means. Print out all the class names.
I was a little confused by this one too. Like the wording was a little tricky. To print out all the class names along with the type of model. Because if I was looking at it correctly, it almost looked like the classes are like they don't. I'm trying to find like the link to the model. So like, model. So you want us to go through for every type of car, right? We're gonna find the model, the name, and the class.
Yes. So you're gonna do this, the class and then the sedan. Sorry.
So,
I
but
can
when
do
it
that.
says name the model, so it would be like, so for instance, the Toyota Venza. So this is, since this is asking us to name all the class names. I'm sorry, I'm confused. It's like
All the class names.
mhm.
It's,
So
so,
class is part of model.
right, look at it this way, so it's hard to do like when you're doing vehicles, right? So, because there's make and model. So I guess if you want to say make is Ford instead of saying type. So print out all the class names along with the type of make. So if you change,
Along with the type of make.
So,
So
like-
when it says type of make, are we referring to?
to the type, so change in the code, change the word type to make. Not that, nope, just go to where it says type.
Down here?
Nope, up at the top. You were in the right spot.
Okay.
Change the
Right.
word type to make.
So for all of them?
Yeah. That might make it a little easier. So wherever you see the word type, replace it with the word make.
I don't
Okay.
see any properties for make though.
Although that's gonna mess up our,
It'll mess that up down there, right? So instead of saying print out all the vehicle types, just print out the vehicle make.
There is no, I could be wrong, but I don't see make as a property. Do you mean the model? Or the
No,
model name specifically? When you
No.
say make, so the maker is Toyota in one case, or the maker is the manufacturer. But that's listed as type in this list. All right.
and this.
Correct.
And
So you're
and
going to, so you're going to change that word type to the word make so that it will make sense, make it easier for you to do in your code. Everywhere you see the word type, which is a
Okay.
property, change it to the
Okay.
word make.
Okay.
Then when you go down to the code that you've already, like the solutions that we've already done,
So there, I just replaced it everywhere.
yes.
So now, yep. So just to check, let's make sure this one still works. Print out all the vehicle makes. Yes. Okay, so now the make is the manufacturer, which is a more descriptive name for that property. So print out all the class names. Oh, now I didn't know what this said before. along with the.
So
make-
print
oh,
out
it
all
said
the class
type.
names with the type of make.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so print out the class names. So, and this is for each vehicle or? Print out all the class names along with the type of make. Okay, let's look at a vehicle. So the make is Ford, so we would print out Ford. We would also print out the class for each model. So we'd say Ford sedan, SUV, pickup truck. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's our goal. Who would like to get us started? We want the vehicle make and then the class, all the classes for that vehicle. Anyone want to start us off?
So is it for const vehicle of vehicles? And then maybe I'm wrong, but I have for model of vehicles dot models, I'm sorry, not modes.
For
All right, I think
vehicle
I got it.
models.
And then for is that the modes?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, that's right. Models.
and then I'm lost. Now I'm lost. That's all I have.
You're right there.
So for is it
Okay.
for const?
So you're already looking at each model for each vehicle. So here's the vehicle. You're looking in the model.
Oh, so it's
Each of these models. We're looking for class, right?
oh yeah, so it's school. No, never mind. I don't know.
No, so here,
You're right there,
Here-
Zona.
right
Like
here.
you're right there.
yeah, here's one model that I have highlighted.
All right. So for models, I have model of vehicle models. And then you want the class. So for
Yes.
const class of vehicle dot model dot what?
So we've already got the model. We've got the vehicle. We're looking at all the models. For each of the models, we're looking for class.
Oh, class of class names, dot names?
You're
I'm so confused now.
You're right there, Zona. So here's
Yeah,
another
you-
way to think about it. The same way that you used vehicle of vehicles to turn like all the vehicles listed to vehicles, you turned vehicle.models into a list of models. So when you have that model of vehicle.models, that model represents an object now, right? So
Okay,
like
so I'm
what
looking
on the
for the
model,
class.
right? So
So
like,
for
and how do you,
const,
well, you
so
don't even have to use const. If you've already defined the model in your
console
for of,
log.
yep, and then what would you console log? Model dot what?
Let me think. Hold on. I'm there. I know I'm there. Just give me a second.
just we're looking, which we already
Console
have.
dot
Well, no, we don't, do we?
Yeah,
Console
real quick, you
log.
gotta add You got to add a console.log after.
Oh, so vehicle
I
dot
did
make,
it after
console
the
log,
first-
vehicle dot make plus quotation marks.
So if you
Console
look
log.
at this so far,
I
this
did.
should
I
give us something. It gives us each of the vehicle makes.
Uh-huh.
And now you're going into each one of those vehicles. You're looking at each model of the vehicle. So we've got make. The other thing we need
It's
is
class.
class.
Right. Okay.
So if you're looking at, so here's the list of models. Here's one model, which property, so, and that's an object with a bunch of
Mhm.
properties. Which property do we want?
Class. So it's console dot log. Vehicle dot type.
you're accessing the model now because you're in the for loop of model of vehicle.model. So it would be
Oh.
model dot something.
We got make of the vehicle. We're also looking for the class of the model. So what
vehicle dot
property?
class? Is that it?
Because we got our list of models, we go into the model. We say, give me model dot class.
Okay. But it says print out all the class names along with the class. With the types of make.
Along with the,
Well, yeah, and the class automatically is a string. So like if you console.log model.class, you don't have to tell it to like say the class name. Like the class is a string, so it's gonna print the string of it, which is the name of that class.
Right, no, I get that. And then so now it's for. Okay, hold on.
I'm just gonna put a little indent there to,
I'm so.
so it's console logging the vehicle make,
Mm-hmm.
Ford, and then it's looping through each model of vehicle.models
Mm-hmm.
and console logging out model.class. So for Ford, these are the classes. For Chevrolet, classes, Toyota classes.
Right, so now it's, okay, so it's,
Yeah, it's already doing what the question asked you to do. Now you can make it fancy and like add actual text and stuff to it, but as you can see, like your solution printed out the maker of the model, which is Ford, and it's listing each of their classes under each of their make names.
Yeah, so this is solving the question.
okay.
We got the
I was
make.
thinking way too deep into it.
Yeah,
I have that. I
you were
was just
there,
thinking,
right there.
yeah. So I just needed the model dot class, okay.
All right, well, it's 8:26. Do you guys want to, do you guys already have stuff to do for homework?
We have 156 questions.
Oh, really? Was that
Finish.
free code camp?
Yep, to finish.
Doug, would you mind staying after for a few minutes? Because I'm just not getting this through my head.
Sure, absolutely.
Can you click on your classes, .js, because I can't see it unless you click on it once.
I don't think it got used in this. I could be
No,
wrong.
it didn't. It didn't. This is
Oh,
the
okay.
previous exercise that Max showed you, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah. But did we add anything to classes.js? I was a little late coming back.
No.
Nope.
Word.
I just had that open in case we were going to reference something back there. We only worked on vehicles.js. I would say if you're ambitious, but see if you can't solve the. Anything to add?
You cut out there, but I think what you said was if they were ambitious was to finish the last two questions at the bottom of that. The other thing that you can try is click on the classes.js file for a second. Doug, click on your classes.js file.
I did it.
No, I think you're,
My last.
yeah, you're lagging. Stop. Sure, yeah. So, give me 1 second here. All right, let me pull this over. I'm going to share this with you guys really quick, just so that you can see it. So one of the things that you guys can try to do on your own also is take a look at your schools.js file, create something that's similar to this using your own, instead of doing schools, try something else. If you don't want to do vehicles, think of something else that has multiple things that you can pull out of it like that. Create this data and then go down and answer, at least maybe the 4 first questions, not every question like the 5th one with the grade average, unless you can think of data that you would be able to use that with. It's another good way to practice all of this, right?
Like a book or anything that's a list. All right. 8:30. Thank you all for being here. And next week I will be your TA.
Thank you, Doug.
Any
Yeah, we'll stick around if you guys have any questions.
Yeah. All right, everybody have a great weekend.
All right, thank you. You too.
It's Thursday, what I call Careers in Code Friday.
Are you all?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just getting so stuck in that
All right.
thinking.
Your screen. Is there you want to address one of the questions in particular? Or is it the whole for loop? You want to break that down?
I think it's the for loop. I think it's the process versus just one particular task.
All right. Well, if you have an example that you'd like to go over, I'm happy to do that, or I could just put together an example real quick to just review the structure of the for loop. The for of loop specifically, because there are different kinds of for loops. The one we were using tonight is the for of,
Right. So I'm even looking at my comments for the first print out all vehicle types. And I'm reading it and I understood it as I wrote it. And now I'm like, I don't know what that means.
all right, what are your comments?
In the object vehicles, in the vehicles array, and type is vehicles property. Give me each item, call the item vehicle, then console vehicle.type to get a printout of the make. That's just so confusing because it's vehicle, 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 vehicle. And I'm like,
Yes. So vehicles is the array. Right? It's just a list of vehicles. Each vehicle is an object, which means it's a collection of properties.
each vehicle is an object.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that object has properties. So you're going through, so the for const vehicle of vehicles is saying, go to the list of vehicles, go to the array named vehicles.
Mhm.
An array is a list of items.
Mhm.
In this case, each item is an object. So it's an array of objects. So vehicles is an array of objects in which each object represents a vehicle. So
Okay.
we're saying for const vehicle of vehicles. We're saying for const item of array.
Yeah.
No.
Other words. For
So
vehicle, in the vehicles category, we want to print out the vehicle's type.
yes, which we changed the property called type to call it make.
Okay.
So that, but yes, if,
I'm gonna,
so that might confuse the issue a little.
what might confuse the issue?
That we changed the property named type. We renamed it make.
So can I just, I'll change it. Print out all the vehicle makes.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay. On the screen. Okay, so
Are you still on live share or no?
I am.
Okay, can,
Every vehicle in the vehicles category. And out of each vehicle.
do you want to share your screen as you're looking through it?
That'd be great.
Okay, so print out all the vehicle makes. For const vehicle of vehicles, log vehicle.make. So when you start reading through that from 4, where's the first place you get stuck?
I think maybe it's distinguishing one from the other because it's both the same name, but one's plural.
Okay, okay. So vehicles, we're using the word vehicles because of the array itself. If you scroll up to the top,
That's like the biggest category.
yep, all the way at the top of this file,
Right.
the name of the array is vehicles. Like it says const vehicles equals square bracket, and then all the stuff inside. So we're using vehicles because that's actually the name of the array.
Mm-hmm.
Vehicle, we could call anything. Because we're saying, like, when change the word vehicle singular. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay.
So if you were to change the word vehicle to item,
So if I changed the name,
vehicle singular, where it says const vehicle of vehicles, so leave vehicle, so vehicles is the name of the array. So
Mhm.
that has to stay just like that. But if you change that word vehicle to any name you want, because that's just a variable name. We're saying we are declaring a variable const vehicle or const item or const next item in the list or const anything. Like, so if you call it item, which because that might make more sense than, you know, calling it giraffe. If you call it, so const item of vehicles, you're saying for each item in the vehicles array,
Mhm.
we're going to reference it with the word item. So then inside of that loop, anytime you refer to item, yes, you are referring to the next item in the vehicles array. And in that console log, you're saying get the, for each item,
Mhm.
log out the property called make. So log out the value of the property make.
Oh my God. Item. Okay, so for every item in the vehicles array, I want to print out the items make.
Yes.
It might help a little bit more.
And so the word item, you get that we could call that anything. It's like we called it vehicle.
Mhm.
So we're saying for each item in vehicles, call it vehicle. Here we're saying for each item in vehicles, call it item.
Mhm.
And then for that item, give me the make or print out the make.
Okay, that might get me a little further.
Because it's starting out with const item. Const is saying we're going to declare a constant variable. And we're going to declare it as item. So we're going to make a variable named item
Mhm.
of the array vehicles. And so because of the syntax of the for of loop, the name of that, whatever name we give that variable is referring to each item in the array that we're looping over. In this case, vehicles.
Okay. That might help me a little bit more. Because I lose track, you know, like, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. You know, absolutely. And I know I'm talking at you a lot, like I hope I'm trying to answer the question in a way that makes sense to you.
And no, I totally appreciate that. And if you have to talk at me for a while, that's fine. But I won't keep you for a while.
Yeah, so I mean, but yeah, whatever. So if you have if you can identify your question, like, and in this case, it was the whole thing. What does this syntax mean? What is each? And you were getting confused with vehicle and vehicles. What do those two refer to? So,
Right.
yeah, I am just saying, yeah, the better you can identify your questions, the more accurately I can answer them. And so based on your question, I would again just draw your attention to the const, variable of array. Like those are the two key elements of the for loop syntax, of the for of syntax. It's
So is this the array?
sorry, I got to move you over to my other screen where I can see it better.
Models would be the array.
Well, so no, models, so model is the property. So, and Chevrolet is one item in the array. So we're still looking at the vehicles array. All of these questions, we're dealing with the vehicles array.
Okay.
So that's not going to change.
All right. So Chevrolet would be the const? No, vehicle.
So we are looking for the vehicle whose make is Chevrolet, or whose make is Chevrolet. So for you want to start with parentheses. It's for parenthesis.
Okay, so.
And if you're not sure what to name the variable, skip ahead and say of the array name. That might help you.
The array is still vehicles, you said.
Yes. Because all the way up at the top of the file, that's where the array is declared. That's the name it's given. And that's the array that all these questions are asking about.
Okay, let's see if I can figure this out.
So, and this is a little bit trickier. This question is. Because the first thing you have to do is you have to find Chevrolet. So if you scroll up through the array.
Chevrolet is a make.
Yes.
So constant make of vehicles?
Well, but vehicles, so the list of vehicles, the array vehicles is an array of objects. It's still an array of objects. And each object has a make property, a models property. I forget what else, but so it's the vehicles is an array of objects. So it's an array of, open curly brace, close curly brace with a bunch of properties inside. So we are looking for the object whose make.
I think the object is still vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's array object.
Yes. So the array is vehicles. Each object in that array represents one vehicle. So, and again, you could call it anything you want, but vehicle is kind of to the point because that's what it's representing. But again, you could call it item
Mm-hmm.
or next object or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the vehicle object. I mean, if you wrote vehicle object, would that help you to remember that? Well, vehicle camel cased, big O, no space. Yeah, so you could make the variable name vehicle object.
Can I name this vehicles array?
No, because vehicles is the name of the array. Like if you scroll up to the top of the file,
Yeah. Okay.
vehicles equals constant vehicles equals. So for each vehicle in vehicles, if we want to find Chevrolet, and Chevrolet is a make of a vehicle,
Make that model.
so you want a hint?
Oh my God.
So let me, in English, we're saying if the make equals Chevrolet, if the make is Chevrolet. So we're saying const vehicle of vehicles or const vehicle object of vehicles. We want to say, okay, we're going to look at each vehicle object. If the vehicle object's make property is Chevrolet, then we want to get all the models in that object.
Let me share my screen a minute.
Please.
Okay, make this. I don't know why this is the tunes.
Yeah. Let me put my glasses on.
Okay, so this, where is my? Okay. This vehicles is an entire array, right? Here's the array, the starting point, and you come all. It's not gonna let me do it. Come all the way down. Why won't it let me scroll? It's being stupid.
Can you command down arrow to it?
Maybe, no, it won't let me do that either. I don't know why it won't let me. Oh my God. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't know why Zoom is being weird.
Huh, is it when you're in markup mode, you can't?
Maybe. Yeah, it must be, which is stupid, but
It is.
anyway. Let me move this stupid sharing bar or whatever. I'll put it over there. Ah, that works. Okay, so the vehicles array starts here
Mm-hmm.
and it goes all the way down to the bottom. So this is a one big giant array. Right
Yes.
here. Inside of that array, you have one object that's here. And that is the make of Ford.
Ford is one object.
Ford
Okay.
is one object, right? Then you have another object where the make is Chevrolet
Mhm.
to here. And then your last object is Toyota, right?
Right.
So we know that this is the second object in our array
Mhm.
of Chevrolet. And what we wanted, we know that inside of that, there's this models. And this is an array that goes to here.
Mhm.
Inside of that array, you now have 3 more objects, right? You have this object, which is the sedan. You have this object, which is the Tahoe or the SUV. And then you have this object, which is the pickup truck. So the question is, print out all the models, right? Is that the one you were working on in Chevrolet?
Right.
So we know that there are 3 models, right? There's the Cruze, there's the Tahoe, and there's the Silverado. So in order to get to this Chevrolet, which is the second object in the main array.
Mhm.
So if this is the first object, if Ford is the first object, that has, it's gonna be where in the, like,
0.
it's gonna be 0. So we know that Chevrolet being the second object is 1. So when we come down here, we want to say, okay, so I need to print out the model of the vehicles that's at the number 1 position. Or the item. You can change this word to item if that helps you. I need to print out the item of the vehicles that's in spot 1, which is the second object in the array. And in order to do that, I need to get this property of models right here. Boop. So it'll loop through this object. It'll loop through this Chevrolet object, right? Remember, it's an object. There's nice object ending right here. It'll loop through this object. And it says, okay, I need to get the models, which is an array. So it'll keep going through this array until it picks up each one that you want, the Cruze, the Tahoe, and the Silverado. And then it's going to say, oh, I don't have any more. That's the end of my object. I'm done. So you're going to say for each item or model object of the vehicles that's in the number 1 spot of the main vehicle array, right? That big giant array.
Mhm.
I'm going to look for the property of models, and I'm going to take each one of those and grab the name.
Okay. Yeah.
The other way that you can do it is exactly the way that Brian did it, right? He said, okay, so I want to take each item of that main giant vehicles array. And if the vehicle.make is equal to Chevrolet, I want you to go through the models array and give me each one of those that has the model.name. These 2 things right here are the exact same. The difference is whether or not you know what the information is.
Hearing you say, instead of const model, I want to print the model for each vehicle in index number 1 or in spot 1, that helped.
Yeah, so that's what this is. You're in that giant vehicle array, you're going to go to index 1 of the model object, right? Because each one has a models object. And I want to go loop through all that, and I want to grab the name for each one. This is saying the exact same thing right here. Loop over the giant vehicles array for each object that's in there, or vehicle, vehicle object, item object. I want you, if the vehicle.make is equal to the name of Chevrolet, I want you to find me that models array
Mhm.
in the object and go through and pull out the model name of each one.
Okay. That's not as confusing. I want to grab my screen for a minute and I want to copy it into a Word document. So then I can label that.
And then this one. Doug, do you think you could, well, no, you can't really, can you? It
What's
has
that?
to be- For the, I put the console.log for the vehicle make, because I said do the vehicle make and the class.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, do you think you could put that console, but you can't, it has to be inside. I mean, I can put it outside of this part if I wanted to. I just put it inside up here.
what are you asking if you could do it all in one console log?
You could, I could do that too if I wanted to. I could do all,
I mean, it'd have to be like
Model doc.
make class, make class, make class, in which
Yeah.
make would be the same each time.
yeah, I just put it one after the other, but it's
Yep, I think
all in
that-
one.
That
Like,
makes
it's-
most sense.
This for loop is inside of the outside for loop. Well, I guess what I'm saying is I could take this, instead of having it before the for loop. I could, oh, that's not what I want.
Yeah, that's what mine was doing earlier.
Because I had something else in my, it didn't copy what I wanted. I hit the wrong button.
Hmm.
I could take this console log. Let's try this again. And put it there. And it should still work the same because
Yes,
it's not inside of this one.
right. But then the make will come after.
The make will come after that, yeah, which is why I put it up on top. That's why I had it there.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I did too.
So this one here for printing out the class names along with the type of the make, it's if you start with your for loop and it's another for loop nested inside of that.
Okay.
You see that? Like here's where it starts. And I'm saying, okay, I want you to console.log out my vehicle make first, vehicle.make first. But then I also need you to go for here. And for each model of the vehicle models, I need you to console log out the model.class. Stupid, what is wrong with this? Right, there we go.
Doesn't help that I don't understand make, model, and class.
So make is,
All right, I just have to keep looking at it.
here's
Right.
your object, right? It's the Toyota is the make.
Mhm. Make is the maker.
Yeah. So here's your object, which is the make of the vehicle. Then you had then there are different models of a Toyota, right? There's a Venza, which is a sedan.
Mm.
There is a Highlander, which is an SUV. And there is a Tundra, which is a pickup truck.
Okay. Mhm.
So like when you go to register your vehicle at the DMV and they ask you for make and model, your make is Toyota, your model is sedan. But there's different model types, right? There's a sedan, there's SUV, and there's a pickup. So you're saying, okay, I have these different models that I can choose from, but what class is it in? Well, it's a sedan, or it's a SUV, or it's a pickup truck.
Okay.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Hopes.
Okay.
I need to. I need to print out this whole thing of mine. Because I need to go through that again and label it.
So like the next question here, print out all the features.
You get rid of those.
That's gonna be similar to this one, right? Sort of. Did we do, we did a different one, right? Actually, it'll be. Yeah, it should be similar to this one, right, Doug? All the features.
I'm gonna print out all the features.
Yeah.
So where does features come in the structure?
Comes in
Features are part of a model.
model, yeah,
So it's so you have to go through each vehicle, and then for each vehicle, go through each model, and then for each model, go through each feature and list out its name.
so it'd be like this one, really. It's gonna be like this. This, print out all the features, is gonna be like this.
Yeah, it might even be 3 deep.
Yep. You might have another for loop inside of there.
Because you're gonna loop over all the vehicles, and then for each vehicle, loop over all the models. And then for all the models of that vehicle, loop over all the features of that model
Yep,
and print them out.
Right.
this last one, you're gonna have something where you need to use something like this. It won't be vehicles, but you're gonna need to do this bracket notation in order to get to it.
Because it's an array with an object. Did I get that?
Because it's, yeah, I mean, you have more than one choice there. If you only wanted to pick one, so like if you wanted to pick one feature out of this array, let's say you wanted Sirius XM, how would you?
0, 1, 2. Sirius XM would be in spot 2.
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
All right. I am gonna go back to it and see if I can make any more sense out of it now.
Okay, that sounds good.
I will be scheduling with one of you.
Good.
That's why it's there.
Yep, that's one-on-ones are